All right, thank you guys for joining the second session of Coinology, session 2. As you know that last week we started working on our goals for 2019. We wanted to go through and create ironclad goals to make sure that as we enter into the year, we enter in with a firm and strong understanding of what it is that we have to do and have a realistic plan of approach. Many times when we fail in making our goals, it's primarily one, because we had unrealistic goals, 2, goals were not quantifiable or measurable, and 3, there was no accountability to those goals. And so today we're gonna, okay, she's still having issues. One second. Joyce, I'm going ready to tag you into this discussion with her, if you can kind of help.
Okay, I was trying to find her. Yeah, here she is. Okay.
All right. So, and so when your goals are not measurable, they're not quantifiable, they're not realistic, it's very easy for us to miss the mark. But one of the biggest reasons why we tend to miss our goals too is because we're not all in. And when we say all in, I'm not necessarily talking about not having a job, a 9-to-5, or not having any other responsibilities, but being all in simply means that you eat, you breathe, you sleep, you constantly think about your goals. It's very hard for you to go a day without thinking about or working on your goals when you are working in your true purpose and passion. When you find that you can go a week, or when you can go a month, or you look up in a quarter and you have not been able to accomplish your goals, or it's easy for you to make excuses for not meeting your goals, you have to ask yourself, are you really truly operating in your gifts, in your passion, and in your purpose? So, there's a lot of different reasons why some of us start our businesses. Some of us started because it's a passion and it's a purpose for us. And then some of us also start working on businesses because it's lucrative and there's money to be made into that. And so with that being said, we want to make sure that we're always operating in our true purpose and passion. All right. So LaShondra, I see where Tasha is having issues getting, I'm about to tag you in, if you can kind of help her get logged in too. I just tagged you, LaShondra, in the session and the questions that we have. All right. So any questions at all about that? When you guys think about your goals and your objectives and the things that you're working on in 2019, I know we went through a lot of those on last week.
Okay.
But do anybody have questions about if they're really operating in their purpose and passion? Any questions around that? No questions? Now, the reason why I found it kind of hard to believe that there's no questions at all about that is because some of us mentioned that we have 5 or 6 things okay, I'll make sure everybody's on mute. Let me go through and mute everybody, because I'm still hearing. Let's see, somebody is not on. Okay, that's probably Yolanda. Okay, I got you. All right. So the reason why I said that it must be an issue in regards to whether or not you're operating your true gifts and your true passion is because I saw where some of you guys had 5 or 6 different things listed that you like to do, and they were all very unrelated. Anybody want to share? Is there anybody on the line right now who mentioned in the exercise last week that they had 4 or 5 things that they wanted to do or wanted to accomplish? I'm good at writing. I'm good at coaching. I'm a nurse. You had like 4 or 5 different things that were unrelated that you wanted to accomplish in 2019? Anybody want to kind of put their hand up and volunteer to kind of talk about that a little bit? Nobody. Okay, so I guess I need to start. Let me call out LaShondra. LaShondra, go ahead and take your phone off mute. All right. Go ahead and take your phone off and you can stop hiding.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit. You mentioned in your exercise for last week that you had a passion to do about 4 or 5 different things. And I know I saw a few others say that they agree. I think Dr. Nima was another one. Angela Lee was someone else who agreed. I don't know if Angela Lee is on today, but talk to me a little bit about how do you feel that you can have a passion or purpose tied to 5 different things that are not related?
It's hard to explain, but I just feel a sense of peace. Like it's not I just
So explain the 5 different things that you feel your purpose is so that the other folks can understand in case they didn't read your exercise.
Okay. I have a gift of administration. My second one is just ultimately helping others. My third one was
LaShondra, it's hard to understand you. I don't know if what you did differently, but all of a sudden there is some type of I don't know, some type of vibration or something coming through. Can you go ahead and start back over again on that?
All right. My first one is I believe I have a gift of administration.
Mm-hmm.
My ultimate passion is helping others, and my third one, that's it.
Okay. So you feel like so you had, those are 2, but you had several more listed down, and you're a marketing expert. Go back to your exercise that you posted in for last week.
I'm pulling it up.
So while you're doing that, let me ask Tanya. So Tanya, Girl Slayer.
I'm sorry, Ebony. I just walked in the house. I was eating. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No, that's fine. I know that you have 2 distinct passions that are not necessarily linked together. You have your Girl Slayer movement. You have your boutique. And then you also are a real estate investor.
Yeah. So we actually do, I'm actually only doing 2 different things now. So the boutique, I'm kind of actually rebranding it. And that's where I'm actually introducing the podcast and the subscription box. And then after that, we have the Zatola, the property management company, where we actually work with investors. Myself personally, I'm not the investor, but I've been in property management for about 15 years. So I just manage the property and make sure that everything is running smoothly. And we do the rehabs and renovations.
Okay. All right. So now when you started the real estate and then you started the Girl Slayer, do you feel like both of them are your passion, or do you see that one is your true God-given passion and the other one allows you to make pretty good money?
Well, I'll say both of those are actually my passion. I started doing real estate when I was actually 22 years old. I'm 38 years old. So like I said, I've been doing it for a very long time. When I really was working with low income housing and Section 8 housing, and just working with multifamily housing. That's originally where I started at. And then me experiencing being homeless myself, I think that kind of like implemented some things in my life that I really wanted to be into property management, and we started rehabbing. But then fashion is another thing that I love very much so. I've been, I started doing that a long time ago too as well. So it's just been following me all this time. So both of those 2 are pretty much, both of those are my passion, to be honest.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so when you look at your 2019 goals, when we start talking about one of the reasons why we had the exercise last week, in particular, Oh, good. Patrice, you were able to make it in. Good. I'm glad you're there. One of the areas that we talked about last week was why is it that you did not make your 2017 goals for 2018? What kept
Mm-hmm.
us from doing that? And one of the reasons why I wanted everyone to go through that exercise is because unless you remove the shame, remove the embarrassment, the fear, and the quote unquote stigma with not meeting your goal and really facing into it, you're going to go into the next year with that same thing hanging over top of your head. So it's important to be honest with yourself, not honest with us, okay, but honest with yourself. And many times we have yet to really acknowledge the fact that we missed what our goal was until we actually write it down and say it. Like many times we talk about when you're writing goals and writing objectives, it's important to write them down and say them. It's also important for you to do that when you have missed the mark somewhere. And it's nothing wrong with missing the mark and acknowledging it. Everything is wrong when you miss the mark and not acknowledge it and not look for ways to not repeat that going forward. So it was very important. So I could tell from the way that some of us wrote the answers from last week who's really going to go into 2019 with a new slate. If we were still hiding behind things, not being completely open and not being completely honest, if we were still making excuses and things of that nature, we're going to struggle through 2019 because you have not yet been truly honest with yourself, not even with the folks in the group, but with yourself. So as we start looking at 2019, it's going to be very important that we start to streamline what our goals are. So some of the things that I saw individuals have, they had 3 or 4 or 5 different passions and purposes and goals they wanted to potentially hit in 2019. And most of those were sub goals. Those were sub goals that they're trying to accomplish to get to their final destination. So when we say, I want to create my final 2019 goal, it really isn't 4 or 5 or 6 things. What it really is that one thing, that one major accomplishment that we want to have for 2019. And you have to sit back and think about what is that? And it has to be realistic. Now, I'm not saying that those 4 or 5 things will not be listed, but those 4 or 5 things are stepping stones to complete that one big thing. So let me give you an example. That one big thing in your life could be, I want to quit my job by December 15th, 2018. Another one could be, I want to be able to hire on 2 new staff members by December 1st, 2019. Another could be, I want to earn 6 figures by 4th quarter 2019. Okay, that is your overall end result, your end goal, right? You know exactly what it is, you've quantified it, and you gave it a date. Then the question then becomes, what are the steps that must happen over the next 4 quarters to get you to that lofty goal? All right. So let's back up. So let's use the example. I'm going to go back to Tanya, for example. Tanya, you there?
I'm here, Ebony.
So the reason why I want to use you is because you do have 2 very distinct purposes and passions in your life, right?
Right.
And they're not necessarily quote unquote related, besides the fact that you are the mother of those 2. But when you think about by the end of 2019, Tanya, what is it that you would like to accomplish? Not necessarily minutia as far as I want to close 5 houses by 4th quarter, or I want to, sell out of my inventory by 3rd quarter. But is your goal, what is your overall goal for Tanya for 2019? Is it to earn a certain amount of money? Is it to live a certain type of lifestyle? Is it to, put your firstborn through college? What is it that you want to accomplish for yourself by the end of 2019?
Well, my goal, obviously, I'll be honest, is to have an increase in the income, because in this business you you lose, and I lost a lot this year and I guess it had a lot to do with my grandmother passing and just other things that transpired in order for us to be just more focused on the business. I think more importantly, I would like to have an increase in the income and the revenue.
Okay, so when you guys hear that, but the first thing, and I think a lot of people are probably going to end up saying increase in income, right? But then there's other people who may say their goal is to, be able to walk away from their job by so-and-so date, or to implement a viable brand. So I don't want everyone to take the easy route out by saying increase in income, but we're going to use this as an example for Tanya. So okay. Tanya, when we say increase in income, you have two distinct passions for you, right? One, yeah. I need for you to be able to quantify that and be able to say by 2019, I plan to increase my income by what? You have to say 20% by 40,000 by, you have to quantify. We have to put a number by how much you are looking to do. So, and you don't have to share, you can share whatever, but I want to make sure everyone understands the importance of quantifying that, right? And then we want to put a due date. So in this case, we're going to use you an example. We're going to say Tanya Meadows would like to increase her income by 100%.
Not that much, Ebony.
Okay. All right. So what would you like to say?
50.
Okay. You would like to increase your income by 50% by when?
Honestly, I really have this goal set that, and I know you say we're not talking about like how many houses and stuff like that, but I really want to at least do like 8 houses and be able to hit this goal by the end of the year, by fourth quarter.
Okay, so by fourth quarter, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna say we're not even putting the 8 houses in there yet. Okay.
I know.
Okay, so we're gonna try to increase our income by 50%. By the end or the beginning of fourth quarter? What are you looking at?
You know what? I didn't even think about that, but I just said the end of fourth quarter, to be honest.
Okay, by the end of fourth quarter, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's the high level Tanya Meadows goal. Now, what Tanya can do, though, is because Tanya has 2 streams of income, we can then break her goals down by each of her streams. But to keep it simple for this exercise and use an example, we're going to talk just about the real estate for a moment, okay? So now, after we've had our 2019 objective, which is to increase your revenue by 50% by fourth quarter. And I hope everyone's following, because I'm about to call someone else next after we get time to walk through this, to make sure everyone's getting it.
Okay.
After you do that, then we need to start to break it down by each quarter. And so as we talk about each quarter, I know you just said I need to get 8 houses by the end of the year. But when we do that, when we just say I need to have 8 houses by the end of the year, what tends to happen is that in January comes and we're like, oh, we got all year long. Mm-hmm. March gets here, I have 3 more quarters, I got time. Mm-hmm. June gets here, oh, the kids are out of school, they're about to graduate, I still got 6 more. You keep making excuses, okay? Because you don't realize that you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
So it's important to then break them down by quarters to hold yourself accountable. So now if you said you want to sell 8 homes, or not necessarily sell, but to rehab 8 homes by the end of the year. What's realistic to say that you would have had rehab by first quarter? What's realistic?
What's realistic is probably, we did with 4. I think I did 4, maybe 4 or 5 houses this year alone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's realistic. But I'm pretty sure if I would have been a little bit more focused and, not traveling and going home a lot, go back home, I probably would have been able to hit that goal. But realistic between 4 and 5 right now.
Okay, 4 or 5. So so for first quarter, it's realistic for us to put you down and say by first quarter, you would have been able to rehab 4 homes.
Actually, no. Because if that's the case, then that's not going to work. Because by first quarter, I would want to only be able to do only 2 homes.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to break it down, I would only want to be able to do 2 homes each quarter.
Okay. Now, this is why it's so important, guys. Did you see what I just asked her? Because I was going to go back and say to her, okay, you said you did 4 in the whole year. Sometimes, and what I said about our goals last week, your goals need to be large enough that it makes you shake, that you're shaking in your boots, but you also want to put down realistic goals that are attainable so that you don't just give up when you get to the end of first quarter and you're like, how am I, and you just throw your hands up and just say, I just want to walk away. So there needs to be realistic goals that make you shake. I think it's SMART goals. Thank you, LaShonda. I think it's important that we keep that in mind, because if some of us say, I want to start my brand today, and by March, I want to be on the cover of Vogue magazine.
Gotcha.
You never know what could and couldn't happen, but it may not be a smart goal to have. So going back to you, Tanya, we're going to say 2 houses. Now, it's not just enough, guys, to say I need to close on 2 houses by first quarter, which is March 30th, 2019. It's important for you to say you need to close on 2 houses that gross X amount of dollars. Because remember, we need to quantify, and it needs to be measurable. So the measurable is the 2 houses. Okay. And to quantify, you need to be working towards that 50%.
Gotcha.
All right. So what most of us would do, not only will we just forget our sub goals, we don't make them SMART, and then we're not working towards chipping away at the measurable or the quantifiable, and we're not giving ourselves a due date. So if you're not doing that, you're not holding yourself accountable. Am I moving too fast, guys? Are you guys following what I'm going with that? Okay. All right. So we're going to keep closing on this one. Then I'm going to move to the next person so we can make sure we get some good examples in, because it's very important. And I don't want everyone to think of their goals this year. It's just okay. So if your goal, your high level 2019, if it's to increase my income by 50%, remember your sub goals, your sub SMART goals need to be your stair steppers on how you're going to get there. Because what's going to happen is that as you create these sub goals, at the end of each quarter, when we have these sessions, then I'm going to go back through your sub goals and we're going to see where we are. Last year, when we first started the Coinology sessions, to get people kind of used to the format and so forth, we were, on individuals about it. But it became too easy for some folks to continue with the excuses. And then you ended up at the end of the year and you ended up with nothing. And we don't want that to be the case going into another year. So Tanya, do you now, as far as the increasing your revenue, your income by 50%, do you want to put any SMART goals in there for you as it relates to Girl Slayer?
Yeah, so for Girl Slayer, that's like a really small goal for me. I've been working on that since September.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got the website then and just started working on it. I've just been working on it just gradually for the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I had a launch date too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a goal set for myself. I do have a launch date for that. But as far as that, I also have a goal that I wanted to see how it goes. You know, how the marketing goes, how people are, gravitating to it. I have a goal for that too as well. And
Okay,
it's the whole first quarter. Go.
great. Because when you say I want to see how it goes, the only
I
way
know.
that you can see how it goes is that you have some type of measurable,
Okay.
something to measure it against, right? And even though it may be small, because it's one of the things that you're working on. Listen, none of us should be working on anything that's not going to get us to our end of the year goal. If we're working on things that's not going to get us to our end of the year goal, then we're wasting our time. Even if it's philanthropy, if it's give back.
Okay.
That may mean that maybe your smart goal or your overarching goal is to give 50% more back to the nonprofits or whatever the case may be. But you need to not be working on anything that's not going to get you to your end goal, even if it means that you're interning or doing some work pro bono. You should not be doing any work for pro bono or interning if it's not getting you to your end goal. Meaning if you're not learning something new, if you're not meeting something new, if you're not accomplishing anything new, you should not be doing it. So everything that we do should be getting us to our end goal. All right. So I'm about to move on to another person. Any questions, Tanya, for you as we move on to the next part of the exercise?
Yeah, I got some more questions, but I'll wait until tomorrow.
Okay. And just so you know, even though we kind of walk through your exercise, I want to see when you do your homework, and I'll explain what the homework is. I want to see you kind of break this down a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Because it's important to go deep with this exercise.
Okay.
It's not important. What people tend to make the biggest mistakes when doing their goals and objective is that they put 9 and 10 and 11 things down there, and it's just, and I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying, and it becomes, and they're not realistic, they're lofty, they're not quantifiable, they're not measurable, they're just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But all we need really is our main goal for the year.
Gotcha.
And the 4 sub steps that we need to accomplish each quarter to get there.
Okay, I'm writing it right now.
Right. And if all the little small stuff that needs to happen underneath that,
okay,
tasks are things that must happen, but those are things that you create your project plan and so forth, but those are not things that you need to have, because what happens is when your mind gets cluttered with a lot of stuff and you just close down and don't do anything because it just becomes overwhelming.
Okay.
So I'm about to go over here to Miss Keisha Powell. Okay. So as all you guys know me over here in Coinology, you guys know that I'm a stickler, and I like to hold folks accountable for success. And Keisha has been one of our members of the Coinology group. Now will be going into her 2nd year. So she knows the rundown and the drill. So let's go back to you, Keisha. You gave us some really great feedback as to why you did not accomplish your goals for 2018. So we're going into 2019 strong. So as you heard me mention to Tanya, have you thought about your overarching goal, that one big goal that you're trying to accomplish for 2019 for you? You're on mute. Let me see if I can unmute you.
You unmuted me?
Yes.
Okay. So my goals do scare me. I'm going to tell you that right now. My overall goal is to have 4 boot camps this year.
The 4 boot camps are the things that's going to get you to your overarching goal. So
yes, which is my overarching goal is the retreat.
The retreat, okay? And you're trying to do the retreat by when?
By the end of the year.
What is end of the year? I need a date.
October. That's the end of the year for me, because November, December, nobody's doing that.
Okay. So you want to have by October 2019, you want to have a retreat.
Yes.
Okay. So we got to make it, you want to have one retreat that generates what?
Money, of course.
It could be money. It could be attendance.
It could be, to generate relationships, stand together. That's my overall goal. Money is what I want, but relationships, stand together and seeing people happy, that's my major goal.
But how am I going to so I think when you think about it, let's think about how you're going to quantify your success, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
October 2019, how do I quantify your success? So is it going to be that I want to make X amount of dollars, or is it going to be I want to have X amount of attendees? Attendees, right? Because year one sometimes is very difficult to right. So
it's gonna be attendees for me.
All right. So your goal for attendees is what?
I want to, when I do the retreat, I want to keep it intimate still, because I don't think people will share if it's so many people. I know in the past when I've done conferences and it's like 100 couples, it's happy, we're having a good time, but everybody's not open and sharing. They try to get you in a corner by themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I want to keep it intimate where it would at least 15 couples at the retreat.
Okay, you want 15 couples
at the retreat.
And
yes.
All right, so 15 couples. So do you know the location you want your retreat to be at yet?
I wanted to do my retreat either in the Outer Banks, because October is still like an off season for them. So the houses are cheaper.
Okay, the Outer Banks. Where is the Outer Banks?
Like Nags Head, that area.
Okay. All right. So you want to do, and the reason why I'm going to tell you why I'm asking these questions. So you want to have one retreat with at least 15 couples.
Yes.
And located in the Outer Banks. And
yes.
You want your price point to be what?
Now that's still to be determined. That's really still to be determined, because the houses, it just depends on the house that I can find. Like I do a house right now and the house is like $4,800, when I rent it for my team, and that holds 48 people. So it just depends on what house I can find, what good deal. It really depends on that. And then, of course, paying even the specialists to come out for that weekend. So, and my other thing is what I'm trying to seal right now, and I have it written down, sealing the deal with my specialists, making sure they're on board, me meeting with them and they kind of understand my overall goal. Mm-hmm. So that's my big thing right now that I'm doing.
Okay, so that's one of your sub goals. So that's something that has to happen in order for your major goal to happen.
Major goal to happen.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now I have 2 people already.
Okay, good. So now you have, I want to make sure I have this right. You have one retreat in October 2019.
Yes.
15 couples and the Outer Banks. All right.
Yep, that's what I want.
Now let's talk about your 4 sub goals. All right.
Okay.
What are you doing? What do you plan to do each quarter so that 1, you become known in the Outer Banks, 2, that you can generate 15 couples, right?
Mm-hmm.
By October 2019.
Well, the Outer Banks is the location that we're going to be going to. Mm-hmm. I know couples in the Outer Banks, but there's nobody there in the Outer Banks. You understand what I'm saying? People will probably be coming from Hampton Roads traveling there, that's only like an hour away, an hour and 15 minutes away. So, it's more, like she said, it's more of a tourist area. It's more like if we was to go to Stanbridge in Virginia Beach. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you. So what are we going to do each quarter to get you to the point of being able to get 15 couples? Because it's hard to even get 2 people to hit PayPal. So we got to get 15 people. We got to get 15 couples, which is 30 people.
Yes.
To say yes to the brand, and especially because you have introduced it, but you haven't really launched it.
Yeah.
Right. So we
So-
still need to officially launch the brand. So what do you see yourself doing in first quarter?
Well, a launch, I have thought about a launch, but then I'm thinking, like, how would I do that? I see myself doing a boot camp. I talk about my boot camps all the time now when I'm doing events, and people are asking me to sign up. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we put on the website was where they can go and they can pay, like begin to pay or whatever, down payments, if they're really serious about attending the boot camp. Mm-hmm. So it's just me talking about it for right now, but I haven't launched anything. I would love to launch something, but I haven't did it. But word of mouth, I mean, even last night I did an event and 3 couples were like, when is your boot camps going to start? Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure if I had, everything like really in place financially, I could really, I probably would be filled.
Okay.
Because people need help.
Let's back up. So one of the things I don't want people to use as an excuse is the financial piece. So if one of the things is financial, then we need to say one of your goals for quarter 1 should be to identify capital resources. So a lot of times what happens is that we run from the things that are hard, which is getting money is hard. So, but if that is something that you need in order to accomplish your goal, then in first quarter, it should be all about getting your capital. And so if that means investors, if that means loans, if that means grants, etc., you should be outlining that first quarter dedicated to getting capital resources. And I will tell you, along with that, which is good because I know you were working with Carrie and them with this from Epicon, is making sure that your presence is there, your website, your logos, your mission statements, all that stuff is there, so that and knowing what you're asking for financially and what they'll get in return. But so if for anyone else on the call, if your question or the thing that will be stopping you is capital, which is for most people, then you have to face into that and say, okay, how do I plan to get the capital?
Okay. Now, I have a meeting set up in January with someone to talk about money, to go over my percentage, like what to ask for, how to ask, all of that. Because I didn't know how to really approach even Tamla, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I have a meeting set up with someone to even do that or whatever. So I'm excited about that because I'm ready to roll. It's so many people that believe in me in this whole, business, and they're like ready. They're like, when is it going to start? Like, we need it now.
All right. So that's good. So I want you to, so when you start working on your goals for 2019, Keisha, I think the biggest thing is I want you to really think about making sure that your goals are realistic. And when they are realistic, holding your feet to the fire. Okay. So first quarter is definitely all about getting money. So if that means that you need to identify, I'm just throwing this out I will identify 4 capital resources by first quarter. And then the one sub underneath that, I will close out at least $25,000 from the 4 capital resources identified. You got to go deep. When I say go deep, you have to be able, you can't just say, I'm going to have a meeting. You got to hold yourself to the fire and say, I'm going to schedule, I'm going to identify, I'm going to, identify X amount and I am going to get this amount out of those meetings by March 30th or whatever that date is. And the reason why is because that allows you to know. So maybe your question, so maybe let's go back to your goal.
Okay.
All right. I see that you said you want to have a retreat. You need to do a launch. You need to do 4 boot camps. And all of this stuff that you want to do requires money.
Yes.
So maybe you being realistic about it, and with everything going on, maybe the first quarter or first 2 quarters is all about solidifying revenue. Right? I want to, you're trying to solidify enough revenue to kick off your business. Because what I'm hearing from you is that, you know, you need money to do what you're trying. There's certain businesses that don't necessarily need income up front to get started, but your business needs income. So I think that's the reason, and to be honest, and we're going to be honest because we're in Coinology, and that's why we're all here. We're not open to being, you know, getting the feedback. We shouldn't be here because that's how we are. But that's probably why you fluttered last year, is because you had the vision, you needed the money, and it was the elephant in the room that no one would address and attack. So I would be doing you a disservice to let you continue to post all this stuff and not say, how the hell are you going to pay for this?
Yeah.
Okay. And so the goal for me and you this year needs to be, you need to get some money. And you need to find out, you need to become an expert at getting capital resources. You need to get your nose in the book. Okay, yeah, you know a lot now about the intimacy, the tools, like you said, when you did your think tank, you're expert at keeping your man happy and pleasing him and all that stuff you were telling us at Epic. Now I need you to become an expert at getting some capital.
Okay.
So your goals should be around getting capital. So if that means, you know, I need to finish X amount of webinars, read X amount of books, visit X amount of
networking events.
Yes. Yeah. So your goals need to be around getting money.
Okay.
All right. And then from that point, I don't want you to get off the hook by that. I think you need to put a really hard place in the sand. By so-and-so date, you would have acquired X amount of dollars. And then that would have been able to help you fund moving to the next phase to get you to your end goal. So we need to really think about what that end goal should be.
Issue, like if I had the money, I know it would be done. I know it would be.
If you had the money, you could probably flip the retreat within a quarter.
I can flip that within a quarter. I can flip a retreat in like 3 weeks.
So that's what we need to be focusing on. So you need to be looking at getting the money to get to doing that retreat by the end of the year.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to move down really quickly to Miss Janine. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So when we start talking about your overarching 2019 goals, what would you say that is?
I'm not really sure. I was thinking that I wanted to have my first investment property. You know, we were talking about the lease option, but I'm also thinking that I want to have at least 5 clients as far as in my the program that I was trying to develop for home buyers.
Now, are you an agent yet? Are you?
Not yet.
Okay. So that probably is going to be one of your stair stepper goals, right?
Yes.
All right. So is your goal at the end to generate a certain amount of income, or is it to acquire a certain amount of assets?
I guess income.
Okay. So that's the piece that we need to think of by the end of 2019. Oh, we're going to say December 31st or whatever date that's going to be, you would have acquired a certain amount of income. Now, the only thing I will tell you is you got to also look at the cycle of your programs that you're trying to implement and whether or not you would have gone through a full cycle to have realized income. Yes.
Okay.
When you first start processes and so forth, you don't, unless it's a short cycle, you don't get the money right away.
Right.
Right.
I was thinking it would probably be a long cycle based on credit and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we need to, for you, come up with what that end goal is by so-and-so date. You want to have accomplished, you would like to have generated X amount of income.
Okay.
And then each quarter, so I'm sure one of those quarters is going to be for you to become a licensed agent.
Yes, the first quarter.
First quarter. And then I know we talked about ways to implement your different programs, and we kind of hit a few brick walls. But like I said to Keisha, we got to dig deep. So now we have to become experts in what can we do. And to be honest with you, there may be just a question of do you want to create something new, or why not implement something that's already a proven success? Have you thought about what your process will look like? You don't have to necessarily go through it over it now, but have you identified that, or are you still working on that?
I'm kind of still working on it because I had thought about something something new,
Okay.
separate from what's out already.
Mm-hmm.
And something a little more one-on-one. That's why I said I was thinking that the time period might be a little longer.
Okay, so even if it is longer, you still need to have quarterly goals to make sure that you're working towards getting there. And that's what's going to be important for us to work on for this week.
Okay.
All right. So I know that time that snuck up on us already. It's already 9 o'clock. I know we didn't start until like 12 minutes late. So we're going to keep going for a few more minutes to make sure we get our full hour in case folks have questions. Before I move on to any other examples, I want to make sure that you guys are following me. If it's not making sense, definitely ask questions. Any questions so far from anybody on the line? So everybody understands what we're doing this week. Okay, good. All right. So I'm gonna move on to someone else, and then I'm gonna start explaining this week's exercise. Mary Wade, you there? Mary, are you there? Okay, she may not be still there. Let me move over to
Ebony.
Are you there, Mary?
Yeah, it took me a minute to get the phone right.
That's okay. So if you were talking about your 2019 overarching goal, what would that be?
Ooh, that's going to be tough. I knew you were going to call me. It's tough because the direction I thought I was going to go took a totally different way. And so other opportunities became available. So I found myself doing more speaking and life coaching and singing, and I was just sitting here trying to marry all that stuff together. So I think I'm at that place that you talked about, the multipreneur thing, but trying to define exactly what I really want to do or can do well.
Well, I think one of the ways to do that, I'm glad that you said that so we can kind of talk about that, because I'm sure there's quite a few other people up here who are entrepreneurs. I saw Dr. Nima, you had also mentioned that, and Angie Lee, I don't know if she's still on, she also mentioned that. When you are a multipreneur type person, it still goes back to what is Mary's end goal for the year? What is Nima's end goal? So Mary, is your end goal, and be honest, by December 2019, are you trying to supplement enough money to walk away from your 9 to 5? Or are you just trying to prepare for retirement? If you answer that question, then everything else will line itself up, because you will then start focusing on the items that's going to help you get to that end goal. And so some items will help you get there faster than others. And of course, that is what you're going to put most of your energy towards, is that. So for you, would you say that that's one of your targets, or are you looking to prepare for retirement? Are you looking to supplement? You have a child that's going off to college and you want to make enough money to cover that. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, so let me start that over then. I'm glad you said that. Thank you. Okay, so because we're going through a massive restructure and we all can see the light, the lack of the light at the end of the tunnel, my first goal has to be to define a viable business that can help me replace or build towards replacing my income. And so what I started with was with life coaching and authorship. Put out a book product, create the website, got the logo, did all that. And so now you're absolutely right. I have to define a viable business so that I can work towards that, and actually rather quickly, probably quickly than I can say.
Right. So with that being said, it sounds like to me, so you have all the components in place. Now you need to get clients.
Yeah.
Okay. So now your goals for first quarter need to be all about acquiring clients. Where are the clients? How do you get them? And how do you tell them who you are and get them to say, I need to purchase your services? Right?
Right.
So then you see how quickly, Mary, the singing and all of that takes a back to your coaching.
Yep.
And I hope some of my other multipreneurs see how we just did that. So when you have all these things in your head, the question is, once you know what that end goal is, it becomes easier when you're able to identify the things that's going to help you get there. Dr. Nima, you following me on that as well? How we just did that with Mary? Okay. So Mary, so I know, because you have so many gifts that you have, and I know those gifts don't go away. They're still there, but the areas that you put your most focus on and what you are pushing towards need to be the things that are going to get you to your end goal, not things to just make you happy. Yeah, we do those because it makes us happy and so forth. But when you are really talking about trying to make your purpose or your passion also your paycheck, then that is how you quickly identify the things that need to be, hobbies and things that you need to put most of your energy in.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So I also haven't given up on the companion care, and so I actually was thinking I need to really marry what I know, because one of the things I thought about was not necessarily just sitting with an elderly person, but I'm talking about brain stimulation and STEM. Maybe offering classes, because everywhere I look, I'm seeing assisted living facilities. I don't care where I look, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I could just marry my engineering background because these people, a lot of these are retired professionals, something like that. And maybe I could just offer classes in those facilities so that I'm not trying to go to different homes, something like that. So I'm trying to think on that area too, as a viable business.
Okay, so when you start talking about viable business and having to move quick,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be, what you should be doing for anybody who has to move quick and that has a lot of things in their mind, what you need to do is, you know, take a sheet of paper or whatever, and you need to just put them all out there and look at look at the different ones as far as how long it's going to take to implement each of those. How much energy is it going to take? How much money is it going to take? And what needs to happen, the steps that need to happen before that. So I think that the assistant care, what we talked about before, is an excellent, excellent. I think that you starting to figure that out versus your coaching and all that stuff being ready to go right now, you have to determine, because if you have to make a decision quickly because of the situation on your job, you have to determine where you put your energy and your efforts in, especially when you work a 9 to 5 now. You're going to be limited on what you can focus on right now.
Right.
All right. It's not saying that you can't do both. You just have to, as you know, marry a multi-generational plan. Right?
Right.
Because what happens is you become so overwhelmed, then you just give up because it's too much.
Right. Right. That's kind of what has happened while trying to work in a crazy atmosphere.
Working, you have all these things that you want to do, plus the fear of what's looming, and then you have a family. So it's a lot.
Right.
So that's why it's important when we talk about making the goals as simple but as scary as possible. Simple but scary, not simple and easy, because when you guys work on this assignment for this week, if it doesn't make you a little nervous and make you question how the hell am I going to get there, then you failed at the exercise. You have to feel a sense of stretch to know you're going in the right direction.
That's good.
Okay, so this week's exercise, I'm gonna walk you guys through this week's exercise and what to expect as we move forward. Let me read some of these comments that we have here. Okay, so Tanya, you said I'm scared. That's for sure. Good. That's good to be scared. Okay, very good. All right, so for this week, our assignment, I went in, and when you guys go back into the Facebook group, you will see under the area that says files. So everybody, when you go into files, you're going to see a new document that is there, and it's entitled Session 2, Coinology Session 2, Goals and Objectives. All right. When you go there, what everyone should do is write their name, their email address, and then I want you to write your 2019 goal, the big goal, the overarching goal, the goal that you will have at the end of the day. And then I need you to drill down into your 4 sub goals. And so remember this. Your goals must be quantifiable, they must be measurable, they must be realistic, and they must have a due date. Again, and all these things should make you shaking your boots, by the way. Okay? If you're not shaking, then start over again. All right? Realistic. Again, remember my example of you trying to be on Vogue magazine by March. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying I want to be in Vogue magazine by 2025 March, because it takes to get in Vogue is not an easy feat. I mean, you got people that's been in the entertainment industry for 25 years and still haven't made it on the cover of Vogue. So I'm just using that as an example, but realistic, measurable. So when you say I want to close, I want to become an investor and I want to start investing on homes. Okay, but how many? That's 8, 4, if it's 1. Okay, quantifiable. So if I want to invest in 8 homes that generate how much income? So is it 8 homes, 100,000 or more? Because if you do 8 homes at 10,000, but you had an $800,000 goal, you can do 8 homes, but you still would have missed the goal because you were under the amount of what the value were. You guys follow what I'm saying? So it's not just about checking the box. Oh, I did the 8 houses. I closed on 8 houses at $5,000. Okay, you still would not have made the income that you needed to have by the end of 2019. So you need to make sure that you quantify that. So that means, Dr. Nima, you need to close 25 new patients that are worth, I'm not quite sure about your entire industry, but that are worth at least, you can get at least $10,000 a patient per Medicaid or whatever. That's a whole difference of you closing 25 patients that only bring in $1,000 worth of income. You're not going to be able to cover your cost of doing business. So you would have checked the box, but you still would not have met your goal. All right. So realistic, quantifiable, measurable. All right. And a due date. You got to have due dates. If you don't have due dates, then you're going to look up and it's going to be January 2020. Okay, because can y'all believe it? We're going to 2020. You're going to go into January 2020 still talking about the stuff you had in mind for January 2015. All right. So remember, so again, you guys will go inside of Facebook in our private group, click on the area that says files, and underneath that is a group file. The importance of you putting that information there is that is how I'm going to hold you accountable. So at the end of each quarter, I'm going to go back to each one of you guys. So LaShondra, you said by March 30th, 2019, so-and-so, where are we with that? And it's in the document, it's written, it's saved, it's there. It's not like last year, I think everybody was emailing me stuff here and there and this and that, and some people were able to slide around and slip and slide and all that, but this year, no slipping, no sliding, it's there, it's written, it's in black and white, and it's gonna be a document that you will constantly have to go back and review. And it becomes difficult to slide from that. All right. So it's important. So if you're taking Coinology seriously, you're going to participate in this assignment because it's going to hold you accountable. Then I'm going to hold you accountable, because what's going to happen is now I have LaShondra and Joycelyn on the team as well. And so they're going to be setting up those separate sessions, the follow-up, to ensure that you guys are doing what you're saying you're doing. And there's not any excuses. It's one thing if you have things that are popping up, but you shouldn't wait till your due date to say, oh, I couldn't, and I can't, and you need to be raising your hand early on. Okay? Any questions about the assignment and where to put it? I am trying to be a lot more organized this year about where assignments go, how we do them, how we communicate, because I think it's important for us all to learn from each other. I think last week's exercise, each of us learned some different things that we were able to utilize, and I want the same thing to happen with this exercise. So we're putting a lot more structure and rigor around how we do the assignment. So it's important that everybody put their information inside of this document this week versus it's out in our feed. Normally the feed is okay, but the reason why I want you guys to do it in this document is because I want to be able to pull up this one document in the end of the quarter and scroll through and not have to go through and looking through all the past comments inside of the group. Any questions, any concerns? Everybody's good with everything? Okay, one more announcement I do want to make is that February the 4th, all right, we will begin our new Coinology curriculum. So if you haven't already, inside of Coinology, there are 6 new chapters. And each chapter, starting in February, we're going to spend 6 weeks each chapter. So you're looking at 36 weeks. So we're going to start on February 4th, and we're going to walk through each of the concepts, each of the ideas, and talk about, we're not going to just talk about them from a high level perspective, but we're going to actually apply them to what you're working on right now. If you guys have gotten the book and you have questions and, oh, I don't quite understand, and things of that nature, then we're going to walk through and talk through that in detail starting February 4th. So if you don't have your book, definitely make sure you grab it before February 4th, and make sure you have at least read the first chapter by February 4th, because we are going to be walking through each chapter in detail starting February the 4th. So any questions about that? All right. The other thing is, I think Patrice asked me, I'm glad she asked me. She asked me if I was do I live in Virginia? No, I don't live in Virginia. I live in Atlanta. But the reason why you saw the VA post is because we will be coming to Virginia. We are coming to Virginia February the 10th to kick off the Coinology Cluster Tour. So what you see right now, what we're doing, we do this for 8 hours, face to face in the room, and we start digging deep. When we go from city to city to city doing that, and our first city happens to be in the Tidewater, Virginia area. So registration is now open for that. If you guys want to grab your seats, make sure that if you're in Virginia, have friends in Virginia, let them know that we are coming on February 10th. And it's very important for you guys to share and make sure we have a great participation there, because the better the participation, the more of a learning opportunity is for the folks that's in the room. So any questions there, definitely let me know. And we also have incentives for those who came last year who want to come this year. So if you have questions around that, inbox me and I'll tell you about that as well. And then lastly, I know it's something else I forgot, LaShondra. What else did I forget? We talked about February 4th. We talked about Virginia, us coming there. I think maybe that's it. If there's anything else, I will send out a note to remind. Any questions that anybody may have that I can answer? Oh, and I remember the last thing. Thank you. I just saw Harry smiling faces and I remembered. We are in open enrollment right now, which means when we say open enrollment, it means that there's no fees and because typically, just so you guys know, Coinology is a subscription-based group. It's normally $50 a month to be inside of Coinology, to get the weekly sessions that we have, the exercises, and all of the stuff that you see happening every week. It's normally a $50 a month subscription. Right now, that is waived into February the 1st. So if you have friends and family or colleagues that you feel would benefit from being a part of Coinology, that you feel that will learn from it and that will grow, definitely make sure to share this information with them, because at this point, there is nothing to lose, because you're not, having to pay anything until February the 1st. So definitely make sure to share and let people know all about the group as much as possible as well. All right. Well, I think that is it. And I'll be looking for everyone's homework assignment inside of the files area inside of the Facebook group. All right. Thank you, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.